Hello there, North Andover. My name is Ron Carpenito, local resident here in town, and I live over by the library area. And just like you, I've been wondering a lot about how we are going to have our town meeting this year and what that's going to look like, what's it going to feel like. And then almost out of the blue, 3 days ago, my good friend right over here and our town moderator, Mr. DiSalvo, gave me a call and said, hey Ron, I know you're wondering what's going to happen. How about we make a show about it and we tell the citizens of North Andover what's going to happen, how it's going to go down, and what they should expect the day of town meeting. And that's how this show, bringing it together, town meeting amidst the pandemic, was born. And here we are today.
Well, thank you, Ron, for A, picking up the phone when
Yes.
I called, and secondly, for being so gracious to lead this. Yeah, you're a wonderful host. We missed the Journal. Hope that you come back at some moment in time.
Yeah,
but most importantly, you're just like everybody else, wondering, is it safe?
Right.
Will it be an appropriate environment? How will it be different? And I thought it happy and appropriate to make people aware as much as possible.
Right. And so I think, what's the best thing that's interesting about the town meeting this year is it's going to be outside.
Yep.
Right? We're having it at the Joe Walsh football field up at the high school.
Yep. My former colleague on the North Andover School Committee, Joe Walsh, the beloved Joe Walsh. So many of you know Joe. But we will be having the very first outdoor town meeting in the history of the town of North Andover since 1646.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like, North Andover's town meetings always have a first in the nation or a first with something. Are other towns doing it outside? Or are we kind of leading,
Yeah, so
the
I'm
parade
part
with
of a
that?
moderators group and helping as a thought leader design what town meeting opportunities might be. There were really three choices. One is to have a dispersed meeting inside the high school, but CDC guidelines are so clear that it is way, way safer to be outside than it is to be inside.
Right, fresh
The
air.
second was to have a drive-in movie type of town meeting.
Interesting.
The problem with that is that you disenfranchise people who don't have an automobile.
Okay.
So you can't do that. The third, which we can't take advantage of, but the legislation that I wrote allows representative town meetings to have literally a virtual meeting. Everybody gets on their Zoom phone and computer play, and you get to have. That's easier to do if you're a representative town meeting because you have a defined number of who those voters are that are elected, usually around 150 or so.
But then again, you might have some people who can't get on.
We can't.
Seniors perhaps.
Well,
maybe
in that case, you could do it because they are representative town meeting members. So you can provide laptops for people. But you can't do that for an open town meeting. We've had as many as 3,000 people, as you know, come to a town meeting. So you can't actually conduct a Zoom meeting, a virtual town meeting in that case. So we alighted on having it outdoors, and we have a wonderful facility at the Joe Walsh Stadium right on the football field.
Perfect facility for it. And I think, we don't necessarily need to go over the whole reason why we're doing it. Everyone's aware of the pandemic, and obviously we're doing it for health and safety reasons, just so we can continue with our democracy here in town. And I think we have pretty much the best form of local government in the way we do it. I think it's so American, and everyone has their say, and it's just an exciting moment for our town.
Everybody counts.
Everyone counts. So let's jump in. So, Mark, what I want to do is I want to discuss this from the time and process of how a person might be coming to the meeting.
Exactly.
Okay? We're going to take it step by step. We're going to talk about when they arrive on campus, when they park their car, when they go to check in, how are they going to get to their seat, how's the meeting going to run, how are we going to do adjournment at the end to be safe, and then we'll talk about any housekeeping items and the things that somehow those things happened. How did they happen? Those kind of things.
Everything that you wanted to know about town meeting, but we're afraid to ask.
Exactly, right here. The Town Meeting for Dummies. The book will be out soon, right?
Okay. No. But the people who attend town meeting are far from that.
No offense intended. Don't go to my Facebook. We're fine. Okay. So viewers at home, I just want to let you know, there are many, many details that we'll be going over tonight. If you want to rewatch the section, it'll be replaying all the way up to town meeting night, different times. Check with CAM's website for their schedule. But there's also going to be a website where we can get more information and download stuff before the meeting. What is that?
The website information is up already,
right?
And it's North Andover, Mass/town meeting.
Okay.
Is the website. Just go to the town's website. There's a town meeting button, and everything that you could ever imagine
is right there.
Yes.
Okay. So North Andover, stay with us. Here we go. We're going to jump right in. Are you ready?
Go.
Let's do it. So the first thing before the meeting, you're doing something a little different this year, and you're asking people to pre-register for the meeting.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
More like RSVP.
Okay.
Because you have to register, you have to actually check in order to come to the meeting. But we want you to RSVP for 3 reasons. Number one, it'll help us plan. We need to know how many people are actually coming.
Okay.
It'll help give us an idea.
Is it limited? Is there a maximum capacity?
It is unlimited. There's
okay.
no maximum capacity.
Okay.
We can hold a couple of thousand people.
Okay.
We will not
we
have
will
that
not
many
get there.
people. Second reason, the most important, is that we will actually be seating people in a physically distant fashion.
Right.
And we'd like to know, are you coming by yourself? Are you coming with 2 people? Are you coming with 3 people? So we can set up the field for that number of people. Or is your family coming and you'd like to sit in our blanket area? And we'll get to that a little bit
Could
later.
almost feel like a dinner reservation.
Well, it's a dinner reservation.
You're making a dinner reservation at town meeting. Come
dinner
on.
reservation and a music festival as well, I
love
guess.
it.
So we might pipe in a few tunes.
Excellent.
Send in your requests.
Right.
And the third reason is because we'd like to be aware of the kind of information that we need to flood out there, either printed or in electronic form, so that we can best serve the fair requirements that we have of running an open, fair, safe, and efficient town meeting.
Excellent. Safe, fair, open, efficient.
Excellent. I wish I thought of those words.
They're right there on the screen.
Excellent.
It's perfect. Okay, so pre-register ahead of time. Now, if they don't pre-register, is it the end of the world?
Everybody can come at any time.
Right.
Last minute, be my guest.
Great. All right. So we've pre-registered. It's the day of the event. We're getting ready to leave for town meeting. What should we bring with us? What should we not forget to bring to town meeting?
A couple things, and it's a really good question. Number one, it's outside.
Yep.
Sunscreen, a hat. I will have water available for everybody at every seat, but bring an extra bottle of water for yourself.
Okay.
And if it's going to be cooler weather, bring a jacket or a blanket. If you're going to sit in the blanket area, bring your own blanket. I don't have that many at home, so you're going to have to supply that for yourself. But the most important thing that you can bring is some knowledge. Go to that town website and download the presentations and the information that's necessary so you can follow it on your laptop or your smart device, because we will flood the field with Wi-Fi and cell service.
And we're going to talk about that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Now, what else? There's one important matter I think we need to talk about.
Yes.
The mask.
Bring your masks. And we'll ask you to wear a mask while you're in the stadium, while you're checking in. But you'll have my permission to take the mask off while you're speaking before the meeting. And the mask requirement is a judgment by the Board of Health and the town manager, who have put together an edict that every person the age of 5 or over must wear a mask unless they have a medical disability that doesn't allow them to do so.
And they should bring a note from a doctor.
They don't have to bring a note
Okay.
from the doctor.
Good
We're
to know.
anticipating that people will be honest about it.
Okay, good.
Okay? But you must wear a mask otherwise. And if you can't wear a mask, not that you don't wish to, but that if you can't wear a mask because of a medical condition, we will put you in a separate area that's properly physically distanced as well for folks who can't wear a mask.
Okay.
And that word about a mask goes for every town official, including the moderator. You'll see me behind the podium, other than when I'm speaking, with a mask on.
Okay. Good to know. Now, the meeting, as we said, is happening at the Joe Walsh Stadium on the grounds of the high school, right? My wife and I, we're heading down Osgood Street. We're turning into, the campus area, we're heading up the driveway, and we're going to talk about parking. So first off, when I'm driving up that driveway, the sharp right by the tennis courts, there's an extra kind of overflow parking lot, what's that going to be used for?
So we're going to reserve that space by the baseball field
Okay.
for two reasons.
Tennis on the right, baseball on the left. right?
Exactly.
Yep.
For two reasons.
Okay.
That'll be specialty parking for those with disabilities in that space. There's a limited number of parking spaces, perhaps 20 or thereabouts, but it's much better and much closer to the field area if you park there. So I hope if you come early and you have disability rights, you're welcome to park there.
Right there.
Secondly, for those people who might be walking down, that's one of our 3 entrances in order to get to the field as well.
So it's an easier way into the field
Yeah.
from the people walking. Great. So for the people not needing that spot, that extra parking, they're going to continue up the drive, probably going to be taking a left into the main parking area, and they park anywhere they want, or will they be directed? Will they be
At the
directing
moment,
cars?
you're welcome to park anywhere that you want. There will also be handicap parking as designated, but there's a pretty large field of available parking, and then there's parking on the other side of the high school. So there's parking for as many as 400 cars before we get to the potential of allowing people to park in fire lanes, and that judgment will be made by the fire department and the police department in conjunction with me in that moment. I don't suspect that we're going to have to do that, but we'll have some flexibility if necessary.
Okay. And
by the way, I have to tell you that the high school will not be open. So if you're parking in the back of the high school, you're going to have to walk all the way around. It's not that far. We all need some exercise, and most of us have been outside getting a little bit of that exercise anyway.
The weather's much nicer now.
That's right.
And just timing-wise, so basically the actual town meeting begins at 5?
5 p.m.
So when would you recommend people arrive to park, check in, get seated, things like that?
So we will be opening check-in at 4 p.m. So you can't check in before 4 p.m. We think that's plenty of time. I don't suspect that there'll be particularly long lines. We'll have a minimum of 3 entrances, and things should move along very, very quickly.
Very smoothly. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. We've parked the car, we've got our blanket, or whatever we need.
And
we
what
have
are you
our
going to
mask.
do when you get out of the car?
What am I going to do? I'm going to lock the door, bring my mask.
And you're going to put on your
I'm
mask.
gonna put my mask on
Very good.
immediately when I get out of
Very
the car
good.
door. And I'm going to head down to these check-ins that you were discussing. So you said there were 3 entry points.
There'll be a minimum of 3.
And I think on the screen here, we're going to kind of review where those are.
That's one of them.
That's one of them.
Near the scoreboard, that's another. And closer to Route 125, Chickering Road, will be the second entrance.
Second
and then
entrance.
the third we've already mentioned, near the baseball field.
Exactly. But what is special? There's definitely something special this year about the check-in. Electronic polling pads?
So
Talk
no,
about that.
actually, it's not
No?
all that special.
No,
We've used electronic poll pads in North Andover for the last 4 or 5 town meetings.
Oh.
And like when you
Shame
go out
on
to
me.
vote, so quite all right.
Sorry.
When you go out to vote, you simply, and as we will do in check-in, you'll be physically distanced as you're in check-in. You'll approach check-in. The folks who will be responsible for check-in is the town clerk's office. She and her staff will be appropriately garbed, gloves, masks. They'll be physically distanced, 2 double tables in separation from anybody that comes in. It's a hands-free check-in play, okay? And you simply have to state your name and your address. You'll be checked in by the electronic poll pad, and you'll be
Ready to go.
pleased to go.
Will they hand me anything? Will I have a voting paddle, a book, anything?
You'll have the opportunity to pick up 2 things.
Okay.
The first thing that you'll pick up is a card, and that's the card that you'll use to vote. The second thing that you'll pick up is a bracelet. The bracelet will be an elastic type bracelet that you'll put on your hand as well. Generally, we ask that you put it on your right hand, the voting hand that you'll use to raise your card. That way the counters will be able to authenticate whether in fact you are a registered voter and are properly attending the meeting.
Excellent. Okay. So now we have our voting pad, we have our bracelet, and now it's time to head down onto the field to our seat.
Yes.
And this is where it's going to get really fun. Is someone going to direct us to our seat? How's this going to work?
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is movie theater ushering, and maybe we can put up the diagram.
Yeah, that'd be great. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
So let's assume that you're entering from this entry point.
Right.
after check-in, you'll be directed to an open seat for one person, for two people, or for three people, or...
Which is why the registration was important, because they're going to know to take you there.
Gives us some sense.
Yep.
Or if you're heading back to the blanket area.
In the back.
Exactly. And what we're asking people to do is to walk in a single direction and to go to the very end of that section so you don't have to cross in front of other people. I know we all have our favorite seats.
And we all want to sit at the end of the pew type situation.
We're not going to be able to accommodate that.
We're moving all the way in.
Because we're trying to be socially appropriate for the health and benefit of all of our members. One of the things that's really important to recognize is that every seat will be a minimum of 8 feet away from any other seat other than if you're with your household group.
Okay.
And that the aisles, the width of the walkways, is 14 feet. So you're going to be absolutely appropriately protected in terms of safety, with the benefit of wearing a mask as well. You will have a near zero opportunity for any kind of a transmission circumstance.
That's great. And did I hear something about special this year where there'll be distance monitors that are going to help make sure that these spaces are adhered to?
Yeah, so
talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, so our distance monitors will be doubling as our counters, and they're folks who are certainly aware of what town meeting is all about, and we appreciate that this is going to be the first gathering as a community that we're going to have, where a large number of people will be gathering, and I know we're going to want to reach out to our neighbors. I'm going to ask you to limit it to a big hi and a wave.
Right, that was my next question. We can't go up and hug everybody.
Yes.
We don't want that to happen.
Yes, that's conduct that's inappropriate, and it's conduct that is not allowed, and under my authority as the town moderator, I have the responsibility of protecting the safety and social welfare of everybody who's attending. So you'll be given a warning if you do so. But if you misbehave and you do that repeatedly, you'll be invited to leave.
And you've always had that responsibility as the moderator. It's just blown up to a bigger level nowadays.
Yeah, it means more now.
What a surprise to you, I bet, having... Thank you so much. I just want a quick thank you. You've done a lot of work on this. Everyone out there, you have no idea how much time has been spent in this, and a bunch of people that have been working on to do this.
Let's talk about that
It's
bunch
incredible.
of people, for instance. This diagram that you've seen, this is iteration number 8, version 14 of that number 8. And it was done principally by Dr. Jim Mealy, who's the Chief Operating Officer of the North Andover school system.
Okay.
He has been just extraordinary in working with his staff in order to put together this scheme. Jeff Coco, who's the head of our emergency management department, is responsible for all of the voting and social distancing coordination, in addition to which his staff, with Connor Lincoln as a principal advisor, will be helping with the social distancing in the check-in lines. And during the meeting itself, essentially the emergency management staff will be taking care of any tempests or fires that happen
That might come up.
up.
One last question on the seating. So only voters and their family members are allowed in the venue, correct? So what about non-voters with business at the meeting? What's happening
So
with
if
them?
you're a non-voter with business at the meeting, you will be invited to be outside the gate, and then at the appropriate time when your article comes up, you'll be able to be allowed, wearing a non-voter button, to the speaking area, and be able to make whatever presentation that might be appropriate or be available to answer questions.
And then asked to leave after, probably.
Exactly.
You're not going to be able to remain.
Exactly.
Okay, so now...
Under the law, those people are called aliens or strangers under Massachusetts law, which is very odd language.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we have everything in place.
Yes.
The stage is set, people are seated, we're excited, we have our masks on, we have our water if we need it, we've got our bracelet on, our voting thing, and we're ready to start the meeting, right? So the meeting actually starts at 5, like we said. Should end by...
We don't know.
We don't know exactly.
The deliberative nature of town meeting is going to suggest how long it goes.
What's your guess? What's the over-under on 9 o'clock?
So over-under on 9 o'clock, absolutely. It will be before 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And I think it may even be before 8 o'clock.
Okay.
So it will be a comfortable environment outdoors, sun is setting in the right direction.
Picturesque.
So it's not in anybody's eyes. But we will have some tenting also set up for those seniors who might need a break from the sun if in fact
Good
that's
idea.
the circumstance.
Right.
And again, we have this blanket area. I usually provide childcare. I can't.
We don't have
There's
it
no
this year.
safe opportunity for me to do that.
Okay.
But parents with children deserve the right to be able to come to town
Absolutely.
meeting themselves. So I've set up this blanket area, or if your family wishes to sit in the regular seating area, that would be great to know that I have to set up for 4 or 5 or 3 individuals, as the case may be.
Understood.
But the-
Pre-register is what we want.
Yeah, doing that RSVP would really be appreciated.
Okay. Now, talking about how the actual meeting runs, is it going to run very similar to how past meetings have run, or what are some of the big differences? I understand there's going to be video screens or no video screens this year, and
Yes.
what are we doing?
So we will not have video screens. We can't have video screens because there's no video technology that we can afford anyway that would be large enough to provide the ability for people to see what they normally see on the big screens that I have at our indoor town meetings.
Okay.
However,
We have a solution.
we do have a solution.
All right.
We will have printed copies of every single presentation for every single person who attends.
Okay.
They will be printed 72 hours beforehand in order to make sure that there is no viral transmission from any one person out
You've
of
thought of
that print.
everything.
Yes, we're trying to think of everything. The Board of Health, Brian LaGrasse is our Board of Health agent, and the Board of Health members have been wonderful in their guidance to me, and most importantly in standing up and being very, very clear. This is what is a minimal standard.
Of safety,
And
yeah.
we're going to be handling that standard by a more liberal fashion than that minimum
Okay.
standard.
Excellent.
So
So,
other than that,
The
town
Wi-Fi.
meeting is going to look really very
Okay.
much the same. So we're going to have more Wi-Fi, more cell service that's going to be brought in.
let's talk about that, the
Go ahead.
Wi-Fi. So you want people, if they prefer, they can bring their Wi-Fi-enabled phone or tablet of some
Yep.
sort, and they'll need to log into a special Wi-Fi or the high school
Nope,
Wi-Fi?
nope,
or-
public Wi-Fi.
It'll be a public
Yep,
Wi-Fi?
yep, no login necessary, just go to the public Wi-Fi.
Will there be instructions on that, or maybe a
Yes.
Wi-Fi helper or a tech helper there,
Sure,
or anything like that?
absolutely.
That will be there?
Yep.
Okay.
And everything that you normally see that will be on the television that our wonderful volunteers and head of NACAM, Brian Fraser, provides us. But everything that you'll see on television, including all of the presentations, will be available to you on Wi-Fi. You can either follow it live, or you can go to your own channel if you wish and just call up the documents that you think are important.
And check it out. Now, debate is the hallmark of town meeting.
It
This is the fun part of the show. So how are voters going to speak their opinion at this new town meeting?
In the same way, with intelligence and respect that they've always done at our town meeting. However, it will be just a little bit different in that you'll go to the front of the room, as you can see right here. We have a microphone area with 3 microphones.
3.
Let's call it small, medium, and large.
Already preset in heights.
Preset in height, so you'll go to, you'll stand just outside of the box, and you'll go, when invited in, after another person has exited, to the appropriate microphone. After each person speaks, the windscreen that's on that microphone will be removed and replaced with another antiseptically treated windscreen.
Amazing. We're going through every motion here to keep people safe.
Without question.
There's no reason to be concerned about safety at this.
Yes, yes. So you have the same time limits in terms of speaking. You'll be able to speak to the stage, and you speak always through the moderator. We ask you, however, to get up and bring new information. Always bring questions. But we don't need to have a recitation of 3 minutes of I'm in favor of something, or repeating what we've already heard or has been presented by people. Town officials and other petitioners are doing a very good job in shows like On the Warrant and in other things that are being done right now to talk through every single item in the warrant. So there's no excuse for participants not to be already very educated and aware. That being said, we're going to go through it all again in terms of appropriate length presentations. And we want your questions. We want changes in motions if they're warranted. Bring the collective knowledge that you have as a citizen. I might have a title as moderator, but you as citizen have a much more important title. And that honor and that obligation of a citizen to make a judgment for the 30,000 people that are here in North Andover, men, women, children, folks who can't vote, people who weren't able to come to the meeting. That's an awesome responsibility that you have, and I want you to make the most informed judgment possible.
Thank you. Now, and that's very important. And although you are the moderator, and one thing I love about you, because I have an entertainment background myself, and I love to see a well-run, well-oiled, presentation happen. You have an excellent ability to keep things on pace and on track. You have the authority and ability to cut people short if it goes too long in their talking, so you can keep things on pace?
I do.
So you can do that?
Yes.
So this year it'll be no different in your mindset, or you're going to be a little bit more?
No different.
So you're going to keep it the same in that,
Yep.
in that regard?
Treat people with respect, ask them to stay on the subject, be respectful to their neighbors, and most importantly, bring something new to the table.
Bring some value to the conversation.
Bring some value, exactly.
Okay. Will we be going in order with the warrant, or how are we going to lay out the order?
No.
That's important.
We will not be going in order in the warrant.
Okay.
The warrant is laid out by the Board of Selectmen, somewhat largely by when articles come in. We are concerned about needing a town meeting and closing it before
Right.
June 30th.
Right.
Because if we don't, we're going to be relegated to having a 1/12 budget, which will make taxes go up, will not provide services, we won't be able to take advantages of early paying opportunities
Right.
early in a fiscal year.
So there's a real
for
reason to get
instance.
this done on time.
Absolutely. So the first, we'll be bringing up 3 or 4 very substantive articles earlier in the meeting. I might deal with a consent, all of those non-controversial things, get them out of the way right away so we can practice this new environment that we have. But then go to the substantive articles.
Okay, and this brings up a good question I just thought of. If someone is coming to town meeting to see specific warrant items and they have been completed, are they going to be allowed to get up and leave, or they have to stay the entire town meeting?
So this is not prison.
Okay.
You are allowed to come and go at town meeting. We'll put the extra responsibility of the precaution of appropriate physical distancing on you. So if you choose to get up and leave in the middle of the meeting for whatever reason, whether it's to go to a restroom or to go home, we'd ask you in these very wide 14-foot aisles to walk down the middle of that aisle,
best as possible,
provide even more social distancing, and be respectful to your neighbors. And if we need to guide you, then folks will be available to guide you.
Fair enough. And we talked about completing it. So, okay, the meeting has adjourned.
I hope
All
so.
right.
We do all of our business.
And we're ready to go home.
Yes.
Do we all just get up,
No.
leave at the same time?
No.
What do we do?
No. You'll be guided by the social distancing monitors, our counters, to file out, not unlike those of us who go to church, filing out of church, or being directed in a larger venue,
Okay.
so that we can have appropriate exiting. It will actually take less time than just gaggling together and running to an exit. It's, we have a plan appropriately determined in order to allow the crowd, no matter how small or large it is, just as they entered safely, to exit safely.
Okay. Now, and I think that kind of summarizes, that wraps up the actual meat of what we talked about, what I wanted to talk about. And now let's talk a little bit about those housekeeping items, those little things that are of importance. Who knows how they get done, but they get done, and people want to know what to do and where to go. And the first thing that comes to mind is usually the restrooms.
Sure.
How's that going to work? Where are they?
So the restrooms are in the stadium area, the stadium seating area of the field.
Where is that going to be on this?
It's essentially at the 50-yard line.
Okay.
And it will be behind the stage. The stage will be on the field in the stadium seating area. Nobody will be allowed to sit in that area, but the restrooms are where that brownish box happens to be.
Does someone need to get the attention of a distance
No.
monitor, or they can get up? Can they
No.
walk in any direction?
Nope.
Or they need to
will
go out?
walk. You will walk in the direction. If you could put the smaller picture in, I'd appreciate that. And you'll walk in the direction as arrowed that will take you to the exit way. So all of the footpaths will be in a single direction.
Perfect.
So that nobody is crossing each
Crossing
other's
too much.
path.
There's what you
Oh,
want.
there it
Yeah,
is,
right.
exactly.
Right.
So if you happen to be sitting in this seat, you'll walk down to the center aisle, walk up to the front, walk out again, and then around.
Okay, so pretty much everyone's going to be walking towards the center.
That's right.
Down and around.
It may be a small bit of a hike, but we do this in order to safely run the meeting.
The meeting. Speaking of safe, someone might get ill, someone might feel faint, it might be a humid night.
Yes.
What do we do if there's an emergency need?
So Bill McCarthy, our chief of police, fire chief, excuse me, along with Chuck Ray, our chief of police, have been wonderful in making sure that we have protocols available for safety. We will have an ambulance with EMT service on site at all times during the meeting.
Okay.
And police officers as well will be in the meeting.
They'll be ready to go.
Yes.
The big question on many people's minds will be, what do we do if it starts raining or lightning develops? And is there an actual final go, no-go date on weather? Like, outdoors events could be, tricky.
So there's a weather protocol in place, and we have both the advisory of public health and public safety officials, but also a meteorological service.
Okay.
And they will be available 5 days before, giving us a moderate term forecast, and we will check every single day with the meteorological services, et cetera, until the day and even hours of the event. And we'll make that judgment. If we know that it's going to be rainy conditions 2 days beforehand, we'll call the audible and make a change with plenty of notice. If that judgment needs to be made 3 or 4 hours before the meeting, you'll get a reverse 911 call.
Okay.
It will be flooded as well in terms of email and text services so that you know that the meeting has been postponed. The moderator has the authority unilaterally to change the date of the meeting up to 30 days and to do it in series for reasons of weather or public health. I'll obviously do it in consultation with public safety authorities and public health authorities. Let's assume, for instance, I pray that this does not happen, that we have a new wave in our community or in the state. Then I'll have the authority to be able to make the judgment that it's just not safe to have a town meeting at this time, and I'll put it off for another time.
Big responsibility. Big responsibility.
Nonetheless.
Thank you for doing it.
You're welcome.
Now, mosquitoes. We're going to be outside on a field. Do we bring mosquito spray? Is the town
You're
doing
welcome
anything?
to bring mosquito spray.
Okay.
Along with that sunscreen and a hat and everything else that we talked about, the sweater and the like. But we will be, the town health authorities have agreed that we'll be spraying the field and the surrounding area the evening before. So we have no anticipation
Of it being
of
an issue.
having a problem.
Wonderful. Now, if I can't make it, I understand, and I don't know much about it, maybe you can explain, this remote participation program. We're one of the
Yeah.
first to launch it, I believe. Is it going to be
The very first.
active? The very first. Is
Yeah.
it going to be active this year?
It will be active this year, and you
Okay.
just go to the town website again at town meeting and you'll have that opportunity to participate remotely. Unfortunately, you can't vote remotely. I'm sorry about that. I wish that were allowed under the law. We may yet get there for open town meetings, but you can participate. Say we're talking about one of the articles, and you have a question. You can literally, in that moment, or even hours before if you have that question, but in that moment, you can text or email in a question, and if it's not been asked or addressed, then it will be asked before the meeting.
Could someone use that at the meeting?
No,
Okay.
if you're at the meeting, you have the responsibility of
come up
identifying
and
yourself and coming.
So it
But
can't be used if you're
but-
shy, sitting down and
exactly,
wanting. right, okay.
Exactly, but if
Right.
if you're ill, you're on traveling, or you've been stuck somewhere else, for instance, all this time, and you can't come home, but you love your community and you want to participate, you'll have that opportunity to participate.
I love it. Okay. And finally, if we can't attend, we don't want to really deal with remote participation, but we just want to watch it a good old-fashioned way. It's going to be right here on cam.
That's right.
Live broadcast, Comcast 8, Verizon 26.
And there's one other way too.
Where else?
It will be live streamed.
Live stream Facebook?
Live streamed Facebook and YouTube, and live stream from the event itself. Again, go to the town website and you'll be able to just click live stream, watch,
Right.
and you're there.
So there is no reason, North Andover, that you can't watch what's happening. At least if you can't make it, join in, watch, learn, understand what makes our town fantastic. Now, there's one more thing we're doing at the event, and that's a food drive, right? We're trying to...
Oh, I'm so
Let's talk about
pleased you
that.
mentioned that.
Yeah.
We've learned that there are many people in our community who have real food insecurity. And the North Andover High School staff has been feeding, literally luncheon staff, thousands of people over these months.
Really?
Thousands of
I did not
people.
know about this.
And we have the good people at the senior center who have been collecting food staples and stuffs and distributing them through pantries and to needed seniors and others who have food insecurity issues. So it would be a wonderful testimony. I please ask you to do that. Bring a canned good, a box of pasta, some tuna, anything that's fresh and unopened, and bring it and drop it off at any one of the 3 entry sites that we have.
Will there be like a big bin for them?
Yeah,
or?
that's exactly what will happen.
Right.
And they will be distributed to people who have that need. You know, this is a celebration of democracy. It's also a celebration of community.
Right.
That we are one community, and everything that we do needs to be for the benefit of everybody else. And just like your good judgment that you're going to bring at that meeting in order to provide the services and public policy that town meeting votes on to everybody, even those people who don't attend, you might be able to feed a hungry child.
That's awesome.
Or senior that has some food insecurity. So
Let's
one
do it.
community.
Let's help each other out, North Andover.
Yes.
I mean, I think this is going to be a wonderful time for our town. We have been cooped up with all this, hysteria and what's going on in the world. This should be an incredible moment for our community. Make sure you get out there. Make sure you check it out. Be there. I'm going to be there. Mark's going to be there. The whole town's going to be there.
I hope so.
One more time. When is it?
Tuesday, June 16th. Start time is 5 o'clock sharp. A safe, fair, open, and efficient meeting. I promise you.
We'll see you there. Take care, North Andover.
Thank you, Citizen Ron.
My pleasure.
Michael.